What was ruined because not enough people were doing it? A lot of online games. Some games do not work without a large community. Worlds Adrift especially. It had hundreds of beautiful sky islands to explore. An intuitive airship building and crafting system. A very well-made grapple swinging system that made you feel like Spider-Man when you did it right. Online co-original poster or PvP that allowed for massive airship battles with crew members. It was my favorite MMO, but it was taken down in early access because the developers ran out of money to develop it and moved on to another project. Worlds Adrift is the saddest story of gaming. It's not like failures when games don't live up to the hype. It died because the hype didn't live up to the game. Admittedly, part of this was due to server performance issues and slow rollout of features that drove away users, but still, the game had much potential. I think it was mostly because they didn't advertise the game at all. I've never heard of it. Not that it means much, but still. So basically, the game didn't work and people left the game because of that. It worked, but it was early access and still had issues that needed to be solved. I didn't even know about this game. Hence the issue. But this story breaks my heart. I really hoped that Dungeon Defenders would take off for years. It did, but not enough. As someone who played it on old-gen console, Xbox 360, I really wished it would too. I've tried out DD2, but it's not the same. This game, even with its flaws, was everything I'd ever wanted in a game. Flying sky pirates, exploration, and custom crafting ships. Man, I don't think we'll ever see something like it again. Successfully going through a storm wall for the first time is one of the greatest gaming experiences I ever had. Man, I loved Worlds Adrift and was so sad it died. Fusion Fall, RIP 2009 to 2013. Was having this problem, but a silver lining of the pandemic was that it got a lot of players to log back in. The entire game revolves around the player base, the economy, item generation, not to mention the core of the game is playing on ships staffed by players whose contributions are all of equal importance. It seems a bit of a drag at first as a new player, since most things are behind real money currency. But what makes it better than most free-to-plays is you can very easily exchange game currency for the real money currency at a rate determined by the player base, and the game currency is easy to collect. I'm very glad it got a boost, because the puzzles are all relaxing/enjoyable and the community is all chill adults. Web link. I used to love this game. I would pay big money to have it on my phone now. In 2013. And it flopped. That's almost 10 years ago, wow. YouTube link. One of my favorite gaming experiences ever was my college Puzzle Pirates revival. On a whim one day, I was like, anyone remember Puzzle Pirates? And like 6 or 7 of us made accounts and grinded to the point where we had our own crew and a couple ships. For a few months, we had as many as 14 or 15 people who would all get together and land Puzzle Pirates laughing out loud. The game was well past its peak, but it was still fun to fill up a dhow and go pillaging or work on blockades on the weekends. We also had a lot of fun just shooting the crap in the saloons after all of us would lose in the first round of the Plinko tournaments to career puzzers. Super chill community, surprisingly detailed in world economy, and the mini-games were super fun and actually sort of skill-based. Titanfall 2 is one of them. Titanfall is such an amazing game. Caused me to head out to Apex. Almost same feeling, but if only we could do wall runs and crap. Because EA literally wanted it to fail, having it released between COD and their own BF1. North America's passenger rail system. I used to use the Amtrak regularly to visit a girlfriend up the coast of California. But no one used the damn thing, so prices slowly increased and suddenly it was cheaper to just drive than buy a round-trip ticket. No buttholes here. That was a victim of aggressive lobbying by the automakers to cut the legs out of any alternative travel methods to cars. Anything public transport related saw massive opposition no matter how the actual voters felt about it. Once they crippled it, all they had to do was point to the crafty system and say, look, cars are obviously better. See also, the attempted project recently to build high-speed rail from Houston to Dallas. Internet privacy. Old way, we're infecting your computer with tracking cookies. Now, here's an annoying banner you have to click saying you are okay with tracking cookies. You must accept this to continue. On every effing site. Well, you can as well reject, you don't have to accept. But I feel your pain, I hate those banners. I just want to read the effing article Google linked me to. I shouldn't have to accept any goddamn bullcrap on your site to keep going. Why companies were given that option is beyond me. It should be no cookies and fine, you keep going. If you want to have no cookies, use incognito, it deletes the cookies when you close the page. I immediately back out of any site with that, no matter how interested I initially was. It's so annoying. Seeing ads for American Edge Project all over Hulu. It touts itself as an organization that wants to keep politicians from ruining tech like it did American industry. In reality, it's a group started by Facebook as it attempts to fight government regulation and the breaking up of big tech. F Facebook. And F the politicians supporting this project. Wants to keep politicians from ruining tech like it did American industry. For example, forbidding child labor, creating minimum worker safety standards, disallowing paying workers only in script good at the company store, stopping them from dumping industrial waste into the nearest river. Yep, the titans of industry hate being shackled by the bare minimum of basic human decency. Given the opportunity, unregulated industry will push towards basically slavery as a purely cost-cutting measure. I mean, they literally did that in the past. The US fought a war with itself primarily focused on it. Paintball, Airsoft was just sort of a last gasp before those type of sports just died. Yes, people still play but the interest just isn't there and I believe people just grow out of it. I played a lot in my early 20s, what killed it for me was the expense. What killed it for me was the toxic environment. Seriously, you can't even run 100 meters, don't act like you're a Navy SEALs just because you spent a whole salary on useless accessories for your male, for replica. Grown men that never experienced the military acting out like their commanders, yelling at kids for not doing stuff like the military is what killed this game. Yeah, this honestly. Me and my buddies in HS around 2010 to 2011 all got into Airsoft, and it was really fun. We'd play at my house and have a good time, but when we started getting into it, we'd go out to those Airsoft places that had trenches and other cool stuff. But the vibe was just utterly destroyed when we saw/heard what you're describing. There was one time late at night we were all packed in this bunker thing and there were kids outside just putting their guns in the windows and spraying. When they threw in a effing airsoft grenade we were like damn WTF these guys are too hardcore. It was fun while it lasted but it died quickly. Random question, I have two pretty high-end guns, AK-47 MP5, that I've barely used, along with a ton of gear, ammo, extra mags, batteries, chargers, etc. Is there a market anywhere to sell that stuff? You could try giving the friendly folks at /r/airsoft market a try. Reddit link. Thank you. I have no clue for you, man. Most likely eBay/FB marketplace or OfferUp or something is what I would try, no idea. What killed it for me in my early 20s was buttholes shooting livestock. From high school to early adulthood, we'd play at this abandoned mill. It was like a real-life COD map and it was great. It got pretty popular and some buttholes started shooting the cows across the street. The farmer put up a notice he'd tear it down if they kept shooting the cows and a few months later, they tore it all down. Okay, these kind of people should be forbidden the use of any gun, be it even a toy, and reported to authorities to get psychological help. This behavior is not normal and should not be condoned beside any notice. Yes, exactly why I stopped playing around 16 years/0. I'm 22 now and took my nephew and his friends last week and I was not surprised when the same toxicity was still prevalent. I am 100% sure none of those people have ever touched a woman before in their lives. Guys over the age of 20 might be in a relationship, mostly with girls that join the team, and mostly an unhealthy relationship that require constant validation. Seriously, if you are over 18 years old you are either in the actual military or not LARPing it. Not only the expense, but also when I was playing Airsoft around 2002 to 2004 it was really hard to get automatic electrics. Spring was everywhere, gas wasn't too bad to find, but the electrics were all imported and there was no easy-peasy Amazon delivery. eBay was king, you just had to hope you weren't getting some cheap gun from China that breaks after 3 games. For me it was that I only managed to play once or twice a year and it seemed like I was having to buy new air tanks every time I went out. Paintball didn't take off because it's expensive. Unless you live on a large acreage of land in rural areas, the additional fees for paying a place, plus gear rental, or ownership, plus CO2 purchases, plus paintballs. It's a lot. The people who are old enough to afford it either are annoying weekend warrior wannabe military guys, or just grew out of it. The people young enough to enjoy it can't afford to play anymore. Last time I went for rentals, balls, tank fills, and of course, the entry fee, it was over $200 for about 4 hours and it was a 1.5-hour drive outside of town to get there. That's like a week of wages at min wage when you're working in fast food or something. Me and about 12 guy friends used to play paintball a lot. As long as it wasn't so cold that the balls would harden and not bust. I think the expense killed it for us. Just got too pricey even for a hobby. Interestingly, none of us played normal paintball though. We all dressed in camo and split into teams and battled in the woods with smoke bombs and walkie-talkies. Miss it. Apparently, in this day and age there are parks in Canada and around Chicago that charge $100 per box. I fully agree with your sentiment. I play with a group and we do woods ball like you did but on a smaller scale and like 4v4 or 3v3, but it's starting to get expensive. Filling up tanks is annoying. It's like a 20-mile drive one way to get a tank fill. Balls are not cheap either. Here in CA it's hot now too, so like balls melt and warp. It's not that people grow out of it. It's just too expensive. My friends and I used to paintball like hell. I was the sniper of the group. When you pay upwards of $150 for a good gun, and $40 or so for a pack of paintballs, it starts eating your wallet more than smoking or drinking. We stopped. Fun times while it lasted. Closest thing I could see to it coming back in any way is VR. The best part of paintball is the fear though. Like VR or FPS, games don't have the same adrenaline rush as really getting shot with a paintball. I've only been once, but the physical aspect and the fear of getting wrapped makes it so much greater than VR or FPS. Have you gone paintballing recently? I recently got back into it after a 10-year hiatus, and I was quite pleasantly surprised to see that the local fields are packed, especially since COVID, far more than they were when I was younger, and the local paintball store I used to go to as a kid had grown by leaps and bounds and into a very large warehouse with a huge online business. I had expected that it would be dying out, since I heard about it less than I did as a kid. Turns out, I just outgrew the primary audience. Politics. A vast majority of people like to stay away from politics, which led to a very selective group of people who had similar mindset to make rules and regulations for the country. The nepotism in the political parties is shocking. Many countries would have better living conditions, and people would be living peacefully if many people were participating in politics. Storming Area 51. Not enough people were Naruto running. Hey guys, let's run into Area 51. A-10 pilot, just like the simulations. Nobody wanted to risk their lives for a meme, because running into a government facility would result in a lot of deaths. They can't stop all of us. Haha, yeah. They can probably kill most of us, but with enough people, we can definitely make it through. Wait, what? I would imagine that if literally 1 million showed up and actually followed through and stormed the base, that if there was really top secret tech there, they could lock the base down in such a way, let them onto the base, and they ain't ever getting anywhere they want to go. They wouldn't need to just start killing people, nor do I think they'd try. There are probably secure facilities on site. I mean, it's also like 10 miles of desert between the boundary and the actual facility. Most people can't run 10 miles. So they'd mostly be having to rescue idiots who are dying of dehydration, and they wouldn't even need to shoot people. They can't stop all of us. Why can't they? What's stopping them from just shooting everyone? Taking care of the Earth. Unfortunately, A lot of people think that attempting to address a problem at any point before the absolute worst-case scenario is alarmism. I don't actually think people think that, I think they're just effing lazy. They can say it's about alarmism though. No buttholes here, people are willing to put in an effort which they believe will make a difference. Penn and Teller did an episode of Bullcrap years back on recycling. Their demonstration suggested that people are willing to go through absurd lengths to recycle properly if they think it actually has any positive effect at all. Zero laziness there. The real root of the problem is not laziness, it is despair. Nobody is certain what he or she can really do to really help. Especially since the answer is probably nothing. The vast majority of environmental issues come from giant corporations, and the actions of individual people make no difference. I'm always reading these statistics saying like even if every single person in the US stopped driving it wouldn't make up for the pollution of a single giant ocean liner carrying products overseas. Why try to save a gallon of water per week when the huge golf course down the street is dumping thousands of gallons on the ground every single day? Correct. During the heart of California's recent drought, I had a friend come over for dinner. I offered him a glass of water. 6-ounce glass. He declined. No thanks. We are in a drought. Got to conserve. Thing is, that 6-ounce conservation will mean utterly bubkiss on the scale of California's almond farms, who purge some 100 million gallons daily from our water supply. It's the big guys who must act to make the difference. Every Californian can decline a glass of water 5 times that size every day for a year, and it would hardly put a dent compared to what those big guys can do. Good intentions don't necessarily have the power to do any real good. The vast majority of environmental issues come from giant corporations, and the actions of individual people make no difference. Voting in every election and primary that you possibly can will do more for the environment than properly sorting your personal waste plastic from paper ever will. Or being overburdened. Working multiple jobs, taking care of kids, etc. Hard to be an activist when you have 18 minutes of free time each day. It's not the everyman that needs to do something. It's corporations and nations that need massive regulation that actually means something, too. Paying fines because it's cheaper than updating your plants to not pollute is not meaningful. Dancing at my wedding. It was me, my mom and the kids in the family. No one else danced except for my first dance with my husband. He gets a free pass because of his messed up back. But the other buttholes, I gave them alcohol and asked for one thing, dancing. The problem now is that somebody is always filming everything. People who aren't comfortable dancing are now way less likely to want to get up and dance for a few songs knowing that it's all being filmed. Damn, I've been to a few weddings and the dance floor was crowded every time. I don't dance, it's not my thing. My friend asked me to dance at his wedding, and I did. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.